Jerry Juarez is a good friend of ours. I don't have his bio, but I've known him for quite a few years. And so he's been serving 35 plus years. Been TrigStar chairman since 2007. So I think I put on the flyer about 15 plus years. So pretty close to that. So we'll see what's going on with the new online testing and give us kind of infill on how we can kind of get a TrigStar started in our area. So I appreciate your time. And Jerry's on up at his in-laws house in Toronto, Canada tonight. So we appreciate you jumping on. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, no problem. I appreciate having me too. This is really important stuff we talk about with TrigStar. And you know, unfortunately, you see kind of one of the bigger issues that we have. You know, we have 9 or 10 people on here, and we should have 3,400 people on here talking about not only TrigStar, but other things that TrigStar brings, or what else can we do. But there's not a lot we can do with regard to awareness, and that's really what TrigStar is to bring students that are mostly in high school. And a lot of people talk about that we need to get them younger, and I happen to agree with that. But right now, the only national program that we have really through NSPS is TrigStar, through high school, trigonometry contest for high school students on a national level. But this is something that surveyors are very, very famous for, talking about it and talking about things that are issues, things that are really important. But what are we really doing? What are we doing to make things better for us in our profession and to bring kids into the profession? And I happen to believe that this is one of the better, or one of the good ways to do that. There are other programs out there that are contests and things that people do throughout the country, but with regard to our national society, this is the awareness program that we have, and we certainly want to make it better. We want to do things that we've to make the program better. And the one thing that we've done recently is finally bring our program online. So it's who out there that's on right now, it's done TrigStar and knows what TrigStar is, and maybe it's putting on a program and all that. So that's good. That's good. So one of the biggest things that we do here, it's a contest. It's a contest for the students. It's great to have it out there, competitive things, and even in-state competitiveness between surveyors is always fun. But the most important thing that we do, and that we have to do with the program, is to get into the schools and get in front of these students and let them know who we are and what we do, and the really good things that this profession brought to our lives. Like for me, I mean, I don't speak for everybody, of course, but for me, I got into this a long time ago, and I was lucky enough to stick with it, and it's done really, really well for me and my family. And you all know how good the pay is, and just how great the profession is. So we got to let people know about that, and if we don't do that, it's just going to get worse and worse. So back to this online thing, TrigStar's been around since 1984. In fact, the guy that started it, he's from North Dakota, Russell Castell. If you don't know who that is, he just passed away this year in July. But he started TrigStar in 1984. So it's been around a long time, and we definitely need to bring it up to date and bring it into some of the online stuff that everybody else is doing. So finally, we're doing that this year. We did have, first of all, let me ask, before I move into that, let me ask if anybody's got any specific questions or anything that they want to know, about the program, or, any topics that you want to cover tonight. So if there's anybody out there, it looks like Kat.
Yeah, hi. I have one question for you. Jerry, it's nice to meet you. I think we emailed back in May, and then the summer got away from us, and it's October.
Yes.
So it's nice to meet you.
You too.
Thanks. I was reading a little bit more about the program today, but to prepare myself to hear what you had to say tonight. And it's only high schoolers. Is it open to middle school at all? Is my question.
it's not open to middle school, and that, that's a very, very good question, because, a lot of high school kids already have decided what they want to do, and they're
Yeah.
talk to their parents, and they've looked at the programs that they are interested in. And I have high school kids this, right now, and they're graduating, and they're moving on to whatever they want to do. But a
Right.
lot of kids don't know about surveying, so they don't, in high school, it's kind of a little late, not too late, but a little late. So
Mhm.
yeah, so no, we don't have something, one of the things that talked about for middle schoolers is to have some sort of a trigonometry or other math contest for middle schoolers. So as a committee, we're talking about doing that and trying to figure out how to do that. So if anybody has any
Right.
ideas about how to do that, there's a lot of civil engineering and other engineering things out there that we can pretty much steal from. That's okay too. We do need to get kids more involved in at a younger age. So that's a
Sure.
really good question. So
Okay. Well,
unfortunately, no.
good to know.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for more, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, hopefully that's something that's going to come in. We're just looking for somebody, a surveyor, hopefully that'll have some good idea and bring it to us or anywhere else, and just like, hey, let's start this, and kind of bring it. That's how everything starts, right? An idea,
Right.
you figure it out, and you move forward and you build it. Well, that's what we're hoping that'll come, to fruition one of these days. But we're all volunteers, so we all know our limitations. Not everybody is a Trent Keenan that is a superstar with being involved and getting things done, and it's amazing the way he does things. And but we need to do that. We need to have
Right.
people that put a lot of time into this, and I've put a lot of time into TrigStar, but
Yeah.
so
15 years I saw.
yeah, I've been about 15 since for the actual chair of NSPS TrigStar, but I was on the committee for 5 more of that. So it's been started, and I started the program in Nevada, and we've been doing it every year ever since. So anyway, it's been a long time, and we really would like to push it forward and do some different things. So
Thank you.
yes, yeah. Anybody else? Nope. Okay, so
Yeah, pretty much most everybody's pretty either administered one or probably maybe Jen, or I don't know about Rebecca, but maybe Sean or Jen may not know 100% about it. But yeah, I think everybody else is probably administered it at some point.
And or read up on it or something, which is good. I think that we've done a pretty good job at getting states involved and keeping them involved. We've got usually every year we've got about 35 to 40 states involved. So there's 35 to 40 state winners that are taken to the national exam. So that's probably a good segue into kind of real quick how this program works, right? You have a local exam that starts with it's the same exam that every school in the country is taking. So it's a timed exam. It's 60 minutes. And it's scored. There's usually 4 questions, and the harder the questions, the more they're worth, and up to 100, and so the winner is the person that has the best score with the best time, right? Pretty simple. So that's usually how the local exam works. And hopefully what's happening a lot is that the local companies, if you have like Trent Diamondback, they're really, really involved. And if you get somebody on the local level to help out by sponsoring a school, those same people, those same surveyors can go into these schools and they can present what they want to present regarding surveying, and some people are bringing, even up drones, outside and showing these kids who we are, some robotic stuff, some scanner stuff, whatever. But it's just something to bring into the kids so they know who we are, first of all. And usually you get a really good response, and kids seem to really, really like it. We just can't figure out how to go from really, really liking it to getting into the schools, and to becoming, not even into the schools, just to become, land surveyors and go into the field, So, we need, that's why we're here. All of us are here. I think we all know that that's something that needs to happen. So anyway, that's the local part of it, the local exam. And then there's very few states that have like a second tier kind of thing to, like every school would have a winner and they would give a second exam to pick their state winner. Whereas most schools will take the best time, the best score and the best time of all the schools in their state, and that'll be their state winner. So that state winner will be sent the exam, and their sponsor will be sent the exam. It's a 2-hour exam, and it's not easy. If you've ever looked at some of these questions, and I'll show you one here in a little bit, but it's not easy test, you know. So the national test is 2 hours long. So every state winner that takes it, of course, we choose a national winner, and the national winner, there's a tier of the prize money. And not only each state would have money usually for the winners, first, second, and third usually. So, and on the national, the third place winner would get $500, and the second place winner would get $1,000, and the first place winner would get $2,000, pretty much cash. You know, they don't have to use it for school or anything. It's, you know, one of the big things about our program is the teachers. You know, we kind of reward the teachers with some cash prizes as well. I think they get $1,000 for the first place winner, teacher 500 and 250. You know, so. And then, you know, now we've got money in the budget that we've asked for to bring the winner, the national winner, to one of the meetings of NSPS and introduce them to the leadership of the surveying community. You know, that either the annual meeting or the fall meeting or something, to bring the student and their parents and even the teacher to come and get introduced to the surveyors that are asking about the program and what it's doing for us and all that. So anyway, that's pretty much how it works with regard to just, you know, how the test works through the process and who gets what kind of money. So, and along the way, of course, we're talking to hundreds and if not thousands of kids and teachers and some parents. And so, you know, I think it's really important to mention that when I said that you know, we got a lot of students. We don't know the numbers. We don't have the stats that we need to say, go ask for some grant money or to grow the program. You know, these people that are giving money away, they want to know what they're given and what the money is going to do, you know. So that's the one thing about TrigStar that has been kind of a thorn, is that we had no way of keeping the stats without putting somebody like a full-time person to be able to keep all those stats. So that's probably the biggest reason to bring the program online. And like I mentioned before, this year we had like 6 or 7 schools that were given the opportunity to take this exam that was online. And one of the things, or the biggest issue we're having with it is the monitoring. You know, so, you know, if you know high school students, you know they're going to cheat and they're going to figure out how to do it. And unfortunately, that's just how it is. And especially when there's money involved. So that's been the biggest thing for us, is trying to figure out the security of the online testing. And we think we have it figured out. So without going into a whole lot about that, we do think we have it figured out. We're you know, on the local level, there's not a lot we can do, but we're going to offer the local exam to the schools either online, or you could take it in person like we've been doing. So now we're a mixture of both. So that's going to happen this year. So and there's, again, not a lot of things we can do with regard to security, right? So I mean, if you ask teachers now, high school teachers or whatever, and how they're going through COVID and having to put their exams online and everything, and I thought that there was some really cool program that they're going to tell us, yeah, this is how we do it. Well, that's not true. What they're telling us is, hey, you know, it's something that we had to deal with, and there's really not a lot of things we can do with security. So on the national level, though, we're going to be hiring a firm that does that's going to help us with security, and that's going to help us to make sure that the national winner is going to go through the 2-hour exam in a way that we know that it's going to be safe and it's going to be secure. So that's how we're going to handle it starting this year. So everybody's got to have a little bit of patience, especially since we're bringing it fully online this year. So,
Jerry,
yeah.
shouldn't NCAA help with that security issue? I mean, are they not interested in helping us at all, or?
No, they are interested, but it's, when we decided to bring TrigStar online, it was pretty much because of COVID. We've been talking about it for years and years and years, right? How are we going to do it? Well, COVID kind of gave us that opportunity to kind of go, not have to do the regular stuff during the year. And so we thought, let's figure out this online thing. So NCSS is definitely it's a great question. And I'm glad you mentioned that, George, because they are definitely going to help in one way or another. They're already helping with the scholarship, $5,000 scholarship winner. We'll talk about that in a minute as well. But hopefully they're going to be able to, I mean, that's what they do, right? They give exams on a national level to people who need to take their national exam to become professionally licensed. So I think they may have some insight into some of this. Yeah, George, I think that's a great comment, and we definitely are working on that to get their help.
So one thing leading into this being more online, two things. One, are they going to be taking it in their computer lab at a high school, or are they going to be taking it at home at the end of the night and just kind of log on whenever they want? And then I got a follow up to that one once you're done.
Yeah, and that's another great question, because that definitely was a concern of ours, and we're hoping that most of the time it's going to be at their schools. But as you all know, a computer lab, there's going to be a lot of schools that don't even have that. There's some schools in some neighborhoods that aren't, they're not going to have the money to have that, unfortunately. So, we're going to offer it to where they can do it at the schools or at home. But that's where that proctoring stuff comes in. That's where we have to make sure that if they do that there's going to be the correct proctoring procedures, because we definitely want that to happen. I mean, it wouldn't be a program if we weren't able to do that. So there'll have to be some things that the student and the parent and the teacher have to help with to make that happen. You just can't go home and turn on your computer and do that. It has to be proctored some way. And we're looking at a few options, or we already looked at it. And one of the proctoring things was to be online like we are right now, as they're taking the exam, and you're able to watch the kids take the exam and not get a programmed calculator or have somebody helping them. So yeah, that's definitely going to happen. Hopefully, again, most of the schools in our minds as a committee, they're going to be taking the test online in their computer labs. That's what we're envisioning and hoping that's going to happen more than sending them home. But there's other situations that can arise that we'll have to accommodate that taking this exam at home. So
okay, got it. And then so second one along those same lines, we are using this as an awareness tool, and now you're taking that away from being able to kind of go into the schools and promote the profession.
Yeah,
just allowing this online test. So how's that going to play out?
Well, and another great question, and that one, right, that's like one of the most important questions right there. Is like,
of course, yeah,
that's why we're doing this program, is for awareness, and coming in. So we're hoping that we're going to be able to, like a lot of schools, like you talked about just now, Trent, that there's going to be some schools, and probably quite an amount of schools that are going to be, that want to do the presentation and the exam the same day. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So we're hoping that the schools will accommodate that still and be able, because I know the schools that I work with, they like to do it in 2 separate days just because they want to just take one period. So we're hoping that we're going to be able to do the presentation one day and then come back and do the exam just like we've been doing. But with that, if you do come in, we're hoping that they're going to allow us to do the presentation, then the exam. So, there's going to be some things that we're going to have to figure out as we go through. And as a committee, committee, we haven't figured everything out. We just haven't. To be honest, it's a hard thing to do when there's so many issues and so many things that could kind of, stop things. And we don't want to do that. We want to continue. But if we don't take that step, we're never going to get there
Sure.
with regard to stats. And we need to
Yeah.
get, so that a great question. And I
Yeah.
wish I could say we had a perfect answer for that,
Yeah.
but we don't. And if anybody has any insight into that, or that can help us with some suggestions on how to deal with that. But the presentation is everything. So
Yeah. And
good
so
question. Yeah.
two things with that one. I'll go to Frank's in a second, but along the proctor exams, try to follow the same line of thinking as maybe the CST proctor, right? Where you can have a weekend and have a student who wants to learn about the profession and maybe be a proctor and have them come in to your office or whatever on the weekends is another option, right? Or since it's only 1 hour,
Yeah.
so they can, we're dealing with high school students, so some of them might be able to drive to you or you drive to them or whatever. So maybe use the same CST proctor exam kind of mindset. And then Frank Whitty said in the chat, we need a intro video, right? If we're going to try to do these presentations online, maybe do a 20-minute video presentation that would start and then lead into the exam after that. Could be another avenue for trying to move this whole program online.
Yeah, and Frank, that's a really, really good point, because we talk about CST first of all, and getting their help, which that's what we're doing, and that's going to be something that we're going to, in any of the programs that we have, we want to get their insight and to be able to do things better and easier. But with what Frank said, and we honestly, I don't think we've even brought that up, but that's a really good point, that there could be a video that, and we've had videos before, Trent, they have to be very quick videos, because a lot of the classes and teachers and principals only want the one period to be able to do everything in, so, but we do, maybe on the national level, and I know there's money out there that we can get to be able to produce a video like that. I like that idea a lot, Frank. And Trent, I like that idea a lot. I'll bring that to the committee right away, because I think that might be a really good way to do that.
Which is what I had done with like that Get Kids in the Survey, right? I took that PowerPoint, I did a voiceover presentation doing a PowerPoint, had all the different voices for that. So that gave us that elementary video component that a teacher could just play a quick 20-minute video. So that would be the same thing. Sean put in the chat, what can be done on the state or local level to get this information out there? For example, those who participate in career fairs and trade schools, etc. So there is a lot of resources. I put the website in the chat, Sean, as well, but there's quite a few resources on the website, and then I'll let Jerry kind of chime in on the rest of that, but trying to get it more out there.
Yeah, and
Okay,
what we're
thank you.
doing,
Yeah,
we're doing as a committee to get the word out is, we've kind of broken up the country into different areas, and the people on the committee have taken responsibility for these different areas, and you'll be seeing a letter from me as a chair about what's going on and what we could do and how people could help, and what are some of these things, these issues that we're talking about right now. It's going to be introduced pretty much more than how it's been done in the past. It'll be more one-on-one, and we'll have state coordinators for right now. The way it works is there's a state coordinator for each state that's involved, or for every state actually. And if there's not a state coordinator, the director or they're the ones that are kind of responsible for getting the word out for TrigStar. So we are right now in the process, and I know it's the beginning of the year. Typically, a lot of the exams for the school year don't happen until after the holidays and things. So we're still in the process of getting things together. But I think everybody should be getting more. Let's see, I'm trying to put it in a way that so I can make sure that everything's getting covered. Is that we're going to be contacting the state coordinators directly, and hopefully those state coordinators are going to be involved like the rest of us are with TrigStar, and their responsibility will be to get all that information out to their state. So hopefully that's going to happen. That's how we're going to introduce things right from the beginning. Go ahead.
I threw that in the chat. So I see it's basically went back to the old NSPS format where you had area directors basically, right? So you have area directors in charge of the state coordinators. It's kind of what it looks like on the website.
Pretty much, yes. That's that. We just had our latest committee meeting was at the fall meetings, as Trent, you were there, and you know, we broke those committees up. I mean, those areas up and everything. So it's fairly new right now, but that's going to happen here soon. So you know, and anytime anybody wants to help out, especially on the committee, you know, we only have the same people that we've had for years, a couple of new people, but it's just like anything else. We're a volunteer organization, you know, and it seems like it's the same people over and over. But if it's something that you're really interested in doing and you want to be on the committee of TrigStar, you know, I'm sure Trent will have my contact information, and you know, we would love to have more people that we have. You know, we're not going to be able to do all this ourselves. So
Hey, we got George got his hand up, but Kat, Florida is open for a state director for TrigStar. Kat's in Florida. Okay.
yeah, there you go. He just volunteered. He just volunteered you.
That's right. That's right. Kat, you're in. Go for it, George.
Okay, Jerry, I'm not 100% sure on how this works, but I'm hoping that we've got these kids online with TrigStar preparation for the test early on in the year, and then they have maybe a semester or maybe even 2 semesters almost to teach for the test or to study for the test and work on it. Is that how we're trying to do this? Or are we just grabbing these kids and saying, hey, next week take a test?
No, it's here. Hey, today, take this test after this presentation.
Yeah, right, exactly.
It is. It really is.
It is. It is pretty much like that, unfortunately. But there are some teachers. There's some longtime people that have been involved with TrigStar, and they, in fact, there are some schools, and one of them being mine here in Reno, that they build their curriculum around TrigStar because the exam is just an amazing exam for trigonometry. So you know, they're preparing these kids all year long until they take the exam. But you're right, George. Most people don't get the information until it's time, you know, and unfortunately, if they know Trig, or fortunately, if they know Trig, like their teachers are supposed to be teaching them, and when they get a problem like we have, and we can segue right into that and look at a sample problem here. So, but you know, there are some schools that teach it and they know TrigStar, but then there's going to be quite a few schools that are new or whatever, and they're going to be like, yeah, here's your teacher tells you that you're going to do this test next week, and then boom, here's your test, you know.
And I think that's kind of the weakness. Sorry to cut you off, George, but I think that's part of the weakness, Jerry, because you know, you have a 20-minute presentation and then it's here, take this exam, and you're trying to gain the kids' attention on a whole profession in a matter of, you know, 80 minutes, right? 20-minute presentation and a 60-minute test, and go, hey, you should become a surveyor, right? I mean, so we're not necessarily, I think, using that to the benefit so much as much as maybe, like you say, come in and do the presentation, give them all of these last 10 years of exams, right? And then let them kind of work on them themselves and then come back and administer the exam. So
I gotta say, my daughter had a great math program at her high school, and I probably shouldn't name it, but it was Reno High.
Yeah.
And because of that math program, she tested out of her first semesters of calculus at UNR.
Right.
I mean, that's how good they were at math. If they put that emphasis on trig at 8th or 9th grade or 10th grade level, I mean, how good could they do? I mean, it would be amazing.
Yeah, and
it would be amazing.
Right. Unfortunately, you know, there is quite a few things about TrigStar, and I'll be the first to admit, as the chair of TrigStar, that are not working real great for us, you know. And that's where I'm talking about with people that are on here right now, that if they have any ways to help, any ways that they any ideas, you know, that would help the program and to do things like that. So
absolutely.
Yeah, and you know, again, I think with COVID, there's been some good things about that came through with that, like what we're doing right now. Who would have thought we would be sitting in a Zoom meeting with people all over the country talking about very important issues, and this is how things get better, and that's what we're trying to do, is make this program better. And you know, and then the first thing we'd have to admit what needs what needs help. And, you know, there's not just one or two things that we need to make this program better. So I appreciate that,
Perfect.
George.
Yeah, and this will be recorded, so you can go back and watch it. And get all your hints that you need back. So go for it, Kat. Go for it, Kat.
I was just gonna say, I'm embarrassed. I see nothing for the state of Florida on there, so it looks like it's probably gonna be me. And
You guys all heard it.
That's right.
my bandwidth is nice and tight, but there's a little bit more for Trig because for me to help and volunteer because my son is a math whiz, so and he's in 6th grade, so I'm gonna learn to pave my way. So I need a high schooler to be a TrigStar, you know, testing,
Sure.
and see what I can do over these next few years as well. So
Yeah, and you know what? One of the things that I can say about that in some states that were involved before, and you know, there's been some things with TrigStar that people don't like, and some states they totally dropped out of TrigStar because it wasn't working for them. And you know, Trent's heard this from me a million times, is that, you know, it is an awareness program. It's not a program that people are going to count on to get butts in the seats, you know, to get people into the college programs. You know, these kids have to know who we are, what we do, and how it could benefit them before they can go to school. And that's what we're trying to do, you know, as an awareness program. So keep that in mind, you know, when we're talking about all this. But a lot of people have decided that it's just not working for them in big states that aren't involved, and that's one of the reasons why. And so hopefully with some new people and some, you know, when they see a little bit past that type of thinking, that they're going to understand that we're just trying to get people, kids, to know who we are, you know.
Yeah, and it's our vehicle that we can use to get in front of the students. I mean, like you say, that's the only thing we have right now on the high school level, that outside of just walking in and trying to talk to them and gain their attention, this is our only way to kind of, and you know what we always try to do, like here, and when we administer it in Las Vegas, we always try to say, you know, math pays or whatever, right? So we come in and we're paying the students cash for them to take this exam and, you know, kind of gain their attention or whatever. So yeah, but it's really the only thing we have to kind of get in front of them right now. So
it really is. And,
yeah.
and there's other programs out there that I'm researching myself that could be different, and we could work with that as well, you know. And if we have 3 or 4 programs that through NSPS or even outside of NSPS, you know, but there's just not a lot of things out there right now.
The Skills USA is, I think, one that we got to kind of really look at as well. So as a way to get into the high school. So
that's right. Yeah, it is a good way. We've been through a lot of high schools and a lot of kids, but again, we don't know what those numbers are, and we're gonna start getting that information and data that we need to grow the program.
Yep.
One of the things we're looking at right now is to have somebody that we can hire to do some of the tougher things that we haven't been able to do because it's a, you know, volunteer kind of thing. So, you know, stay tuned for that. We'll see what happens there. But
awesome.
So anyway, does anybody have any questions about anything program, about good, bad, you know, not good, or whatever? You know, I'm here to answer any questions that you might have or any concerns.
Anybody else?
I'm not sure if I missed it, but I guess I was just going to ask. So for the current people that participate in TrigStar, how does sort of the process go? It starts in October and goes through May, right? A teacher has to initiate it, right? And have the teacher packets. Did I miss it already? Should I go back and listen to the recording? Okay.
No, you haven't missed that part yet. Yeah, no, we didn't.
I'm gonna start to finish. Okay.
We didn't go through the kind of the steps, and that was part of kind of going through the whole. That's it. There you go.
I didn't hear hardly any of that. I'm sorry. It froze up and I didn't hear until just right now. So what's the question?
I was just curious how, for those who already participate in TrigStar, how does it start to finish? It starts in October. Does the teacher initiate, et cetera?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Kind of a step-by-step process on how to, like, she's, you know, she wants to build one for, say, Orlando area or whatever, right? So how's she going to go about it? So that was kind of a step-by-step process.
Yeah, and what happens is, that, you know, you got the school year, it starts in September and goes through June, right? And so typically, it has a lot to do with the teachers of the schools, because a lot of them, they don't want to do these exams or anything like that until the end of the year. But it's pretty much that starts with the school year. I mean, we do have the local exam ready usually in September or October, you know, and so if a teacher, the schools want to start doing the testing, then that's okay. There's a date, there's a May, let me see, I just have that up, let me bring it up, but there's a time when each state has to have their state winner ready to take the national exam, because we do that at the end of the school year. So we have a national winner, but that doesn't come till later. So pretty much in between that is up to the states. And it's up to them to, and their state coordinator, to get through all the states and get through whoever, like California, they're more involved than anybody because they're big. They're giant. They have a lot of schools involved and a lot of people. So really, at the beginning of the year when they want their exam, let me go back just for a second. And there's two ways you can get an exam. You can get a state license that you pay for. That's like $500. Which is really inexpensive. That might go up a little bit, but anyway, and then it's unlimited schools that you can give, right? Okay. Or if there's like a school that somewhere that maybe the state's not involved, you can do sponsor one school at a time for like $75. It's not that much. What we're hoping is when that all happens, that their sponsors are going to be able to give the state prizes or the individual prizes, cash prizes to the kids. And so what I can do, and it'll be part of what's going to be going out here pretty soon, is that timeline. There'll be dates and everything on there, but pretty much the answer is the school year starts in September. You can get the local exam early on and take it, as long as you get the state winner back to NSPS by June 1st, I think is the date. Then you're good. You're part of the national exam. So, but you'll get a timeline. Everybody's going to get a new timeline now on the packet that they're going to get here pretty quick, based on the areas that we've come up with. So,
and then with that, Kat, so sometimes we like here in Las Vegas, we try to get, if you don't have the relationship with the local math teacher for that particular high school, you try to get with like either the district's math department head or some math department head for the school itself or whatever, as opposed to just trying to go straight to the math teacher themselves. So sometimes you got to get through a couple layers in order to get down to the math teacher itself. So
I figured.
Yeah, it's not always the easiest to get right to the teachers. So
I have a friend that used to be a high school math teacher, so she still might know.
Yeah, exactly.
Names to get me in. So.
There you go. That's perfect.
Yeah. Yep.
Trent, I was going to just say, I'll share my screen and go through the competition packet that we have. That'll go, that usually, if you sign up as a school, then you're usually going to, hopefully you're getting this competition packet. So does everybody see this right here? It's
loaded now. Yep. And then real quick, Sherry just jumped on. And then two things. One, Frank Whitty wants to know, can a school take the exam more than once? So I guess as long as the kids don't take it more than once, you just do multiple classes within the school, right? You just get it. The student can't take it more than once.
No, the school has to take it can only take it once. Okay. That's part of the security that we have. And I'll try to explain that, but let's go. And then it might be in here that we can look at the rules here, and it'll explain it a little bit better.
Okay. So, and then Sherry says math clubs, if anybody's following along in the chat. So math clubs, Sherry is actually on the TrigStar committee as well with Jerry. Yeah. So just so everybody knows on that.
Hey, Sherry. So so Sherry actually is involved with a math club, and we did so many things through our fall meeting with our committee a couple of weeks ago that we did not cover all that. So So we're still working on that, Sherry, as to math clubs, because this is everything that's on paper and everything right now is regarding schools. So we'll have to figure that one out. But let me get through this one here.
And maybe just before you jump on your packet, George has had his hand up for a second, so he might have
Oh,
something
George.
going backwards a little bit. Go for it, George. Gotta unmute. There you go. There you go.
Okay, this is a little kind of off the track, but I was lucky enough to meet a couple of young men who were juniors in high school on the plane ride to Playa del Carmen. And they mentioned that they were looking at different colleges to attend to get a degree in engineering. Of course, I suggested UNR because it's a pretty good engineering school, but I also suggested that they maybe want to check out some of the local surveying firms in the area and see if they would be willing to hire them as an intern during the summer break or whenever, even part-time during the school year, which I know is done in some places. And I explained to them that, you know, engineering is a great profession, but they got nothing without us. And well, they really don't.
Mm-hmm.
What are they going to work with?
Yeah.
If we don't provide the information, they got nothing to work with. So I suggested that they maybe check into surveying, and that the pay is actually better. And because there's a lot less of us, so the demand for us is a lot more than the demand for engineers. So anyway, I hope that bears some fruit. I hope these young guys consider that and go forward with it and actually turn away from the dark side and come to surveying.
I knew that was coming.
Exactly.
No,
It's always our goal. It's always our goal.
Yeah, and you know, that's a good point too, is that, you know, there are a lot of people that go through school and almost graduate or do graduate with some other degree. And, you know, there's a lot of them that come over to surveying, and hopefully that continues. And maybe we can figure out how to get into schools that let them know about us, you know. And I mean, there's a lot of geologists, a lot of even GIS people that come to the surveying over here, as you say, to the good side over here, George. So yeah, keep that in mind when you're talking to young people too, is that you know, and they already think they know what they want to do. Maybe that is a good idea. So
well, for sure, starting out, the office conditions are way better outside than they are inside the building.
Yeah.
I stayed outside for an extra 5 or 6 years just because I didn't want to go inside, because I saw that that's where it was going to end up.
Yeah. Yeah. Once you make that move, usually the outside, you know, yeah. So anyway, this is what the packet looks like. You know, it kind of this first page here discusses the program and why we're doing this pretty much. So, you know, we don't have time to go through the whole thing, but so this is what discusses like the program and what the cash money prizes are, and you know, just a letter for me as a chair to everybody who gets this packet, right? So this discusses what we already talked about with the local contest. So so there's some dates right there. So with the state winner, you know, we're really not too much involved as a committee during the local part of the exam. You know, it's probably going to be a little bit, we're going to be more involved just because of the online testing, but these are the dates we're talking about. So between those dates, that's when the states need to have their state winner into NSPS so they can get the national exam. And then the national exam, with their national exam, the postmark on the not the results, but with their exam has to be back to NSPS by July 1st. And then it discusses the award money that we talked about already. And then there's a calculator policy here. And, you know, we made some changes at our committee meeting a couple of weeks ago, and it may not have been updated yet. So just keep that in mind. But there's, you know, we've still had the same calculator policy where you can't use programmable calculators. And so, and then it moves on into the how you can contact your local high school. So this is some of the things that a couple of you mentioned about, you know, what are the steps? And And we're going to try to make things a little bit easier with a better way to do this, not just a few paragraphs in here, but maybe a PowerPoint presentation or something like that. So that's going to be coming as well. So this is just discussing how you can contact your high schools, and then some presentation suggestions. So I just, I'm going through this pretty fast because, we don't have a whole lot of time, but then there's some things that you can download, a speaker's kit and everything that NSPS has that you can download and might be able to help you out. So again, more things on what you could read and how you can help yourself by
You're all right, buddy.
yeah.
Yes.
What's that?
You're good. David had himself unmuted, so
Okay.
got it. You're fixed.
Okay, so here's the administration of the local exam. And again, this is going to change pretty drastically because there's going to be two different ways of doing things with the paper exam and the online exam. So I'm just showing you this just to let you know that this is out there, that we'll be able to distribute this as soon as it's been updated. Trish has been out of the office quite a bit lately at NSPS, and she should be returning here pretty quick, and we'll be able to get some of this stuff done. But if any of you guys want this, just let Trent know, and I can send this right directly to you, even though it's older one. But to have something in front of you right now, if that's what you would like, or if you wanted to wait for the updated one, that's fine too.
Yeah, if you send it to me, I'll because I have a Dropbox for each one of these weeks, and I'll throw that into the Dropbox. So if you'll send it to me, perfect.
Well, and again, maybe we should wait till it's hopefully it'll be pretty quick that it's completed. So
okay.
So also there's some certificates that you can download, and there's also we have some medals that we're going to be doing, and press release that you could send to your local papers and online stuff. So now here's the rules that really are going to change with regard to the paper and to the online one. So there's all contestants in a particular high school must begin the Trig-Star test at the same time. Only one Trig-Star is allowed per high school. So maybe, let's see. Well, maybe I need to look into this more to see what that it might be a little muddy as to, that may not be real clear on that rule. So I'll make sure of that and get back with you on that. So then it goes into a sign-in sheet for the schools, because this is part of collecting the data that we need. So that's going to change a little bit. And then it goes into the, this is the participation certificate. And then here's the problems. This is the way that the local and the national work. There's typically 4 problems, and the first one is a right triangle problem that they give you some of the information, and then they ask for some other information. So that pretty much is the easy right triangle ones, and then it gets into a little bit tougher. And then the third problem is still, it's tough, but it's not excruciating. And then it goes into the last question, which is usually a pretty tough question. I mean, even this local one, if you want to read that real quick, a contractor trying to minimize expenses constructed a building without the aid of a surveyor. The contractor later found out that the local regulations requiring minimum distances to property lines had not been fulfilled. That never happens. Now the contractor must purchase some land from the owners of lots 1 and 2. An arbitrary straight line labeled DAE meets the building corner marked as point A and is parallel with the current property line. The property to be purchased needs to be 50 feet away and parallel with the building lines. So you have a typical sketch as to what they just explained, and then some of the information is given, and you pretty much need to study these. And I've seen it before where I've seen some of these kids sit down and look at this for just stare at it for a minute or so, and it just clicks in their mind. And then they have the answer, pretty much how to get the answer, and so that's all it really takes is like a visual thing. These kids are pretty dang smart, and So that's why we make it a pretty tough exam, you know? So again, some givens, you're given some distances and some information on some things, and then it asks you for the answer. One of the things that we really do as rules is this required answer format. So we let them know that it's the distances are to the nearest hundredth, areas are to the nearest whole unit, and then if you got another one, the angle has got to be to the nearest second. And if we get the answer in anything other than that, say like the nearest hundredth of a foot, you know, if the answer is 0.18 and they give 0.2, of course it's incorrect. So it has to be just like what we're explaining in here, or the answer is wrong. So there has to be some of those rules in there that I'm sure all of you understand. Areas hit to the nearest whole unit, not 574.4 acres, you know, it's going to be 574 acres, you know. So, and then we also give them some of the formulas at the end of the exam, so they have this with them while they're taking the exam. So if they don't remember some of the formulas, then we give them those formulas, you know. I think that helps them out. So anyway, those are some of the problems that we've had. And this problem, you know, we've kind of released that we can put it as a sample problem. So after a couple of years, we can release each one of these problems. So there you go. That's what they look like if you have never seen them. So I don't know if there's any other questions, or is there any other comments?
Anybody else got anything else you want to chat about on that? We'll let don't want to keep up too much of Jerry's time, but that was definitely good and informative. Obviously, like anything, more information to come as we kind of build on the new processes. But any more specific questions for Jerry?
Nothing.
Quiet.
I will be getting information to Trent, and he can send these out and hopefully send them out to a lot of other people who are going to be asking and watching later. But and if there's any other questions, if there's anything that you need, if you need help with the school, if you need help with any, you know, your state, the people involved with your state, anything, that just let us know. We've got a pretty good committee that are very involved and want to help. So just let us know, and sure appreciate everybody taking their time to listen in on this one.
Yeah, definitely some good more information coming out of there. Give a few more ideas for you. Your email on the website for the coordinator, nvsurveyor@outlook. Is that contact? Okay. So yeah, then if you can send me anything, and I'll do a whole follow-up for everybody. But I know you want to get back to your family, so definitely appreciate you jumping on tonight.
Sure.
It was
Yeah.
good. Awesome, guys.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye, guys. Have a good night.
Bye.